Well, a test match, the tale of which will be told with three numbers in their 170s. Ravindra Jadeja with a career best 175 in India's first innings in Mohali to give them a mammoth score. And Sri Lanka in response, 174 batting first and 178 batting second. They've lost 16 wickets in 82 overs on day three to gift India this first test by 222 runs and an innings to light up Virat Kohli's 100th and Rohit Sharma's first as full-time test captain. Wasim Jaffer has had quite a bit of discussions, I'm guessing, on innings defeats today. Odisha have gone down to Mumbai in similar ways. That's the result that Wasim had to take in this strike, bittersweet sort of result. This is a sweet result, I'm sure, Wasim, because it was so easy in the end for India.
Yeah, I think Ronak, and surprisingly, like we spoke yesterday, that whether India would enforce the follow on, which they did. Otherwise, it would have carried on till day four, day five. Made sense to follow on and just made the victory more sweeter. I was surprised that Sri Lanka didn't put up a fight or didn't make took India to day four or maybe day five. But I think a complete performance from India. The way, I mean, it must be called a Jadeja's test. I mean, I was a little bit sad that he couldn't get 10 wickets. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect test match. But he had a fantastic test match and really well played by Team India.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're going to talk about Jadeja in just a bit. But if someone has not watched a lot of the cricket of the last 2 days, they'll see the scorecard today. I've seen, and I think 16 wickets have fallen. Has it once again India spinners running through these sides on helpful conditions? It didn't seem like that, did it? Just how do you sum up this rather poor and almost dismal display of batting from Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I think they didn't put up a fight. Obviously, the Indian bowling is it doesn't give you much. Two fast bowlers and two spinners. They bowl really in tandem. Doesn't give you any easy balls to hit, but you need to spend time. And I was surprised that few of the Sri Lankan senior batsmen didn't show a lot of fight. In the first inning as well, we spoke that they got start, but couldn't convert those starts into big scores. And that is what you need to do. You need to bat long hours in Indian conditions, which they didn't do. Second innings, it just looked like they are here for a good time and not for a long time. So very surprising that they gave
Hmm.
away 16 wickets today.
What is it about overseas batters, even if they're subcontinent batters, Wasim, that they just cannot come to terms to dominate or even put up a reasonable front against India spinners at home? Many batters from many teams come here and seem to be at sea against this Ashwin Jadeja combination on Indian pitches. In Sri Lanka, you think, are used to similar sort of conditions, and yet it doesn't seem like they have the answers.
Yeah, and it's surprising for a subcontinent team to bat like that. Sri Lanka have similar conditions. They do play spin so well. For them to bat like this, it's very surprising. I'm not surprised with the result. I mean, India was supposed to win.
Hmm.
I mean, in Sri Lankan, the greats of Sri Lankan teams have come here and they haven't won a test match. So you can't expect this team to obviously you know put India 1-0 down or something like that. But at least to bat and get the game into day four and day five. So which was very surprising. I think you need to be very sure of your defenses, Ronak. You need to have a solid defense, and you need to be very selective about your shot selection. I mean, if you remember, Kevin Peterson got that 100. Alistair Cook, the guys who got runs in Indian conditions are the ones who know what kind of shots they play, or they are very sure of their defense. And Sri Lanka were surprisingly, didn't show any of that.
Yeah, well, let's give credit to India's bowlers. Far too good for Sri Lanka's batters. Wasim Jaffer has said it's Jadeja's test. It certainly will be remembered as much. We were supposed to call it Kohli's test. We thought he'll light up his 100th with a big score. Got a lovely little 45. But we will remember this test for Ravindra Jadeja. It's an interesting moment in the career of a test cricketer where Jadeja stands. Wasim, you said yesterday that he's good enough now to even bat at 7 in overseas conditions. He missed South Africa. I wonder how much of a difference he would have made there. What does this kind of test match do to the confidence, to the mindset of a player at this stage of Jadeja's career? 175 and nearly the 10 for 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's just showing that, he's in A plus category as far as the contract goes. He's not there yet, but I think his performance wise or his skill level wise as a bowler, as a batter, I think he can win you games on his batting in India, especially, and he can win you series as a bowler, definitely. And he's going from strength to strength. He's a three format player. and just wonderful to see, the way he showcases skills, and wins you test matches with his batting, like I said, and with his bowling as well.
I mean, surely he's an A plus category now. Three formats, like Wasim says, number one retention for his franchise. Surely Jadeja's the elite of Indian cricket. But what about his bowling in this test in particular? There were moments, if there were, when Sri Lanka was stitching partnerships together, it seemed like Jadeja had the answers. Ashwin bowled beautifully. We know Jayant Yadav didn't quite have the impact. Jadeja got more out of this test as the bowler, Wasim.
Yeah, definitely. And the way he uses his, crease, the way he changes his angle from round the stump, from close to the stump to, going wide of the crease and over the stump, round the stump. And that is something which comes with experience. And now he's so comfortable with that. I mean, when things doesn't go, then he changes, his angles, he goes round arm, and then, he does all those things to, confuse the batsman. And that, like I said, when you play, those test matches, you are up in confidence, you can afford to do that. And the pace that he bowls, it doesn't give you, much time. He always, hitting the trem lines, so it makes it even more difficult when the ball's spinning. So in away conditions, sometimes it's hard, it's difficult for him to pick wickets, but when it's spinning a little bit, Jadeja is lethal.
Hmm. Finally, before we wrap things up, what about an assessment of Rohit Sharma, who seems like he's been doing the job for years, even though it's Test captaincy, and we think, will it be different in a format, different from IPL to internationals, now from white ball to red ball? He only got the 29, Wasim, but you could see an imprint of Rohit Sharma on this test. The timing of the declaration, the decision to enforce the follow-on. He seems to be very comfortable in the job.
I think so. I mean, he's been doing the captaincy, definitely the shorter format he's been doing for a long time, and I think he's comfortable. A lot of players are comfortable. He gives them a lot of freedom, and he's got his field placing, his bowling changes, absolutely spot on. He was spot on with playing Bihari as well. I like that.
Yes.
Enforcing the follow and not dragging the test match just for the case on the fourth or fifth day. So I really like that. It's a very positive way of leading, and you can see the smiling faces in the Indian camp, and that is something nice to see.
All right, we shouldn't forget Rishabh Pant's important innings. You think while Jadeja's 175 takes the honors, Pant played a key innings. If Sri Lanka had a moment where they felt they could have been on top in this test, it was just when Pant launched that assault. You think that innings has been quite significant in this test, Masi?
I think Sri Lanka were just in the game in that second session on the first day. At that moment, one or two wickets could have gone anywhere. But I think, like you said, they just had that moment. But Pant had taken that away. Just after tea, and that blistering attack, getting that 96 of just run a ball. 96 was outstanding, and that moment completely took the test match away from Sri Lanka. Lahiru Kumara, getting injured, made it
Yeah.
even worse. But I think that moment, that tea session after that was just outstanding from Rishabh Pant.
Fair enough. Well, let's see if Sri Lanka can recover. They have another few days to at least rest. If that does help, and she've lost a test in 3 days. Wasim Jaffer, we'll speak before the day-night test in Bangalore. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on ESPN Cricket for Matchday. Job done. Easy as that. For India, more points for them in the World Test Championship points table. We will see you now ahead of the second test in Bangalore. See you then.